Hello friends, welcome back to the sim and another video. Today we are going to take a look at the ATR after it received an update from Asobo. This adds some much weighted changes such as SimBrief integration, doing the payload from the EFB, and some other improvements to the aircraft itself. And I believe there are some system simulation updates too that we will look into it. Is it perfect? Not really. There are still some bugs. The most annoying one is the EFB freezing bug, where it becomes unresponsive and the only thing you can do to save it is to restart your flight. But I'll talk about my findings, what I think is working, what I think is a little bit work in progress or needs more improvements. And we'll take a flight from East Midlands Airport in the UK. We are currently parked at ramp 15 and our destination will be Belfast. So we are currently cold and dark. I haven't received anything in terms of payload, fuel, etc. And we will start the flight by going into the cockpit and starting to load with fuel, and then eventually start boarding and program our flight and get the aircraft ready for departure. Without further ado, let's hop into the cockpit and start talking about what has changed. Here we are in the cockpit of the ATR72-600 variant. We are, as I said, we are parked at stand 15, Terminal C at East Midlands Airport. This is a payware airport from Pirigu Dev Co. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. I'm probably butchering it, but one of the best developers when it comes to UK airports, and their airports are very nicely done and they look absolutely stunning. Anyway, back to the subject. As I said, now we have some options in the EFB. I just use this page to open my doors and etc. But now we have a flight plan page where you can import your OFP. Only thing you need to do is click the login button and enter your SimBrief pilot ID. I already have that information in there, so if I click import OFP, you'll see that our routing is here. We get the weather information and we have our payload numbers here in terms of cargo, passengers, etc. There are some things that I'm not sure if it's quite done right, especially if you set the fuel and payload from here. It kinda is fine, but if you go to the payload and do it from here, it's more accurate. Doing it from this side creates some problems, and the payload or the zero fuel weight is not matching in my experience. So I'd like to hear from you, how is your experience? Is it matching when you load the aircraft using these two buttons, or is it different for you as well? I'll share what I mean here in a second when we power the aircraft, but that's how my experience is. Alright, let's get started. Cockpit pre-flight, we have to verify the condition levers are in the cutoff position, throttles are in ground idle, gas lock is locked, parking brake is set, flaps are retracted, landing gear is down, weather radar is off, and on the overhead, I don't think there is anything I have to pay attention here. Maybe I'm just misremembering things, so I might be forgetting stuff, so accept my apologies if I'm skipping things, but that's the pre-flight I remember. We'll just continue with providing DC power by turning the batteries on. Watching the MFC, it will flash and then we should see that extinguish, which means a normal operation. Landing gear indicator is showing 3 green, and our screens are doing a self-test. A master caution at this point is normal. While we are here, let's turn on our nav lights and arm the emergency exit lights, and we will do our flow left to right, bottom to top. for the overhead and then continue with that. Let's take a look at our screens and let's see if I can. I probably can't before going into the external power and having our other screens turned on. But if I go into the system, yeah, nothing's gonna happen because I'm not going to be able to show it while the screens are turned off. Anyway, I will share what I mean, but let's go and do our flow. Over here, we'll start at the bottom, turn the fuel pump, right fuel pump on. The feed low pressure should extinguish. Turning on crossfeed will also turn the low pressure on the left side because it's now cross-fed. Turn it off, turn the crossfeed off, and the other pump, same thing. The fuel pumps and fuel system is working. We'll do a cabin test, and cabin is okay. Door is unlocked, so that's expected. Nothing to worry here. We'll do a squeak test. We'll do a fault test, and if we go down, we should see the faults on the screen. And it went into the fire test, and that's where you see the fire test if you go down. So that's working. On to the next panel here. Now lights are on. Prop brake. I will do this later. I know I want to talk about something. Engine starter switch is in the off position. Nothing here. We can introduce external power. Let's do that because that's gonna take some time for the screens to come on. They are doing some self-test right now. Nothing here. TRU stays off for now. And that's pretty much it. Cockpit voice recorder, I believe, is still not simulated, so we will leave it alone. Down to here, we haven't loaded the aircraft, so they are not quite ready for boarding. Anti-ice system, nothing here. Pitot heat will stay off until pushback and taxi. Windshield heat can come on. I learned that you don't turn on the external power for the AC wild bus. That's for maintenance purposes only. I saw it in a video that I watched, so I will leave it alone and assume that video was instructing correctly. The fuel pumps or hydraulic pumps, we will take a look at this here in a second. If our screens are turned on, we can cancel the master portion and go to the systems page. There's our hydraulic emergency brake accumulation 3000 psi. If we keep playing with the brakes, this should drop if it's simulated. I'm not sure if it is, but we'll see here in a second. I don't think it's changing, so maybe not. Anyway, the hydraulic system will turn the blue pump on and green pump on. Oh, they were on by default, so this is one of the things. They come, if you load cold and dark, they come turned on with the, let me just go here. If you select the avionics mode to Europe, but if you select FAA, they come turned off. I'm not sure if this is a bug or something that has to do with the different regulations, but we will assume that they are turned on, and the auxiliary fuel pump is also on. If I go down, you won't see anything. There is a hydraulic auxiliary pump button here that makes the pump run for 30 seconds. When I press this, you'll see now the flap spoilers, which is our blue system, is also pressurized. If I go up and turn the crossfeed on, it will then pressurize our green system as well. So that's the hydraulic system working. We'll go ahead and turn off crossfeed. Coming down here, annunciation or lights test, they are looking okay. We will leave them for at bright for daytime. Bleed air system, we don't do anything here. We can turn on the main oxygen supply. Smoke test, we'll come back to this. Let's just do the squeak test for the right engine. and it is working. So smoke test we will do. I want to come back to the prop brake. As you see, all the accumulated pressure is gone. And if I go ahead and engage the prop brake and close it, the ready light does not illuminate. This is one of the changes I noticed with the new update. So to make it ready, because now we don't have any pressure on the blue system, as you see, prop brake is here. It cannot engage the prop brake. If we run the auxiliary pump and make sure it's turned on, yes it is, you'll see that system pressurized again, and then the prop brake will become ready. So that's one of the tricks. So if your prop brake is not engaging, you're probably missing the pressure in the system that will pressurize the blue system and then engage the prop brake. So now it is ready, it's pressurized. And the smoke test. Press this, and I think I need to press and hold that. Look at the screen, you'll see forward smoke, aft smoke, electric smoke, and you see the air vent exhaust running in the background. When I release that, it goes. Now we need to reset this system because it's now showing exhaust mode fault. We'll press it once and twice, now it's reset. Alright, all the tests and checks are done at the overhead and everything seems to work just fine. We'll come down, clear this master caution, and let's talk about loading the aircraft. I'm gonna switch to the system page where we can see our payload. Is it this one? No. Let's see which one it is. I guess this is the one. Oh, okay. Let me see. I think I can show it from here. So if I go in to the flight plan page and click set fuel, it should set the fuel. Set payload, it should set the payload. And if I take a look at this screen, oh no, I need to do this manually, I'm sorry. Go here, and if I click load aircraft, this is where you do it manually. I don't think this worked, or it's maybe waiting for me. Let's check the field, waiting for me to enter the numbers into the FMC for that to show up there. So we are looking to a ramp fuel of 2056 kilograms, and where's my fuel on board? It's not showing here. I probably have to switch to a different systems page to be able to see it. Just bear with me here, guys. I'm trying to remember what I did to verify this. 1000, that's 2020 kilograms and 2050. We are missing some fuel there. It's not carried over completely. My way of doing this, I just use these two buttons, set fuel, set payload, and go to the payload page. I don't use these two. I go to the payload page, click load aircraft, and I'll just base it off of the passenger and cargo and load it from here. However, when you use this, there's a chance or possibility that your UFB become frozen. So that's one of the bugs that I have encountered. But let's just try to do this from here so that we can start boarding our passengers. As I said, we will need 2056 kilograms of fuel. We will round it up to 2100. And we are looking to 51 passengers. So let's clear this. 51 passengers. Cargo 1157 kilograms. So we will take 800 to the forward cargo, and we'll take 357, I'm sorry, to the rear, and we'll take 2100 kilograms of fuel. So that should be our payload, and let's click start loading, and that should load our aircraft. So now we are looking to a gross weight of 19,734 kilograms, and that doesn't quite match with our takeoff weight in SimBrief. So that's the problem. I think this is where you get that mismatch. If we set the fuel here, set the payload here, because we should be around this gross weight according to our flight plan. And as you see here, we are not there yet. And if I look at the systems page that we had there, zero fuel weight is even lower here. Like, look at here, zero fuel weight is 18,781, and it's showing 17,634 here. So that's kind of off by a big margin. So that's why this menu is not quite useful to load the aircraft. Let's do this, and I hope I don't have to do the payload again, but we will enter that into the FMC. So that's one of the things. We'll come back to the performance and other stuff. I think I'm running a little bit behind here. There are various tests over here that we can do. One of them is the ground proximity warning system.
Test start. Terrain awareness system test. Terrain awareness test complete.
So that's the ground proximity warning system test. There are some other tests here that you can experience and play. Bottom line, like the ATPCS test, which is the automatic propeller controlling system or something around those lines, where you just put it to here, you see the arm light, you just go to engine 1, and that will simulate what will happen. As you see here, engine 1 out, engine 1 is feathered, engine 2 is taking over, and you just switch to the other side and check the same thing, and it will simulate and make sure this system is operating properly. And you can leave it in the middle position for now. We are not going to touch it anymore. Alright, I think that's enough playing with the tests. The reason I'm saying this is because there are no failures simulated in this aircraft, and having those tests is not going to give us anything different. We'll go into the FMS, we'll do our initialization. We'll start with position initialization and click the last position, or you can click the GPS position. I think that's more accurate. We will return weights. Now we are going to change this according to our flight plan. We are looking to is this the, yeah, we are looking to 18447. Wheels on board is 2,100, and you see the gross weight now 2,547. That's more accurate, and now it's changed. So that's, I believe, is kind of a bug. Reserve fuel is 970 kilograms. We will update that, and we see our trim setting of 1.2 up. There are two ways you can set this. You can assign your trim wheel controls to a controller binding of your choice, or you can do it from the tablet under the payload menu. There's a set takeoff trim, and you can do this from here as well. Alright, we will return performance initialization. Our cruising altitude is going to be 20,000 feet, so flight level 200, and our alternate airport is Echo Golf Charlie Charlie at 18,000. Oops. That's in place. Let's return. We'll check the units, nav data, and eventually flight plan initialization. You can enter your route two different ways. The easiest way is to click set flight plan, and this routing will be copied to your FMC if you are in a rush. I think that's much faster than entering it yourself. And that's what we are going to do today. When I click this, set flight plan, go back, you'll see our flight plan magically appears in our FMC. Only thing we need to do is to select our departure. We are departing from East Midlands via the TNT 2 November SID on runway 27 with no transition. So that's executed, and we will enter our arrival for now, and we are not using ATC, so it is less likely to change. So our arrival to Belfast is going to be a VOR DME approach to runway 35, and that's no stars, direct approach, but we have a via Bell 2, and that's our arrival. Now, so that's our flight plan in place. We can also go in and select our ND. This rotary knob here switches between plan mode and arc mode, or different modes of the ND. This is the plan mode, and if we go to the flight plan and click next, we should be able to cycle through the waypoints to make sure there are no funny stuff in there or discontinuities. And that's our teardrop to turn around and land to runway 35, which everything checks according to the plan that we have in place. Oops, I did something wrong, I guess, or clicked the wrong button here. Let's go to the flight plan route. Anyway, oh, now we have a discontinuity. Why did that happen? Oh, interesting. Is that... Well, we can clear that. That's easy fix. And execute this again, and it should be now accurate. Let's go to the top page. And there we are. Alright, as you see, we have a 6,000 restriction on our routing. That will be our initial altitude, which we can program here and set our altitude to 6,000. We will climb from there when we clear that waypoint. 6,000 is in the box. Make sure your navigation or nav source selectors are in FM1 or FMS1 for the pilot flying, and FMS2 for the co-pilot. Runway QDM for our departure runway at East Midlands is 268 degrees, so we will set our heading to 268. That's almost there. That's set. And I think we have a VOR that we can track as a secondary nav source. Let me see the chart to see if there is a frequency that we can use. Yes, we do have the East Midlands ADF. Or we can use the localizer if you want to. That's not necessary, that's just a secondary measure that we can select and do. Alright, if we go to the surveillance page, we can enter our transponder code. I'm going to throw in something as we are not flying with ATC, and hit enter. That's there. Transponder will remain off for now. And I think what we can do at this point is go and take a look at the checklist. Final cockpit preparation. This is default. Parking brake is engaged. Altimeters, we can take the METAR here. QNH is 1008. We'll set the QNH here. 1008 is set. And let's go back. Landing elevation, I don't think this works. so I'm not sure if there's a bug or something, but the automatic, if you leave it in automatic, it should automatically set it, but the landing elevation is 268 feet, and if I go to manual I can select 300, and let's see what happens if we leave it like this. FMS, COM, nav, they are set. We are not going to tune into any nav frequencies. We will just use the GPS flight plan. Fuel quantity on board is 2100 kilograms. That's verified before, and it's showing here too. We can now reset the fuel used. To do that, let's go back here, and it's sometimes hard to see, but we need to go back to the which page was it? Systems page, I believe, was the page I'm looking for, and I need to stay in one of these screens. It usually brings it up automatically, but I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong here. Is it the miscellaneous? Nope. That's not that. Performance, there it is. It's in the performance page. Reset fuel used, and you shall see zeros here. That's checked. Memo panel, nothing here. And we have to do this again. Power management is in takeoff position, and the procedure is complete. Before propeller rotation, we are not quite ready for this yet, but what we can do is we can start boarding.
Boarding requested.
And while the passengers are being prepared, what we can do here is to get the aircraft, get the right engine started in hotel mode so that we can provide some AC power or AC. We'll turn the right fuel pump on. Engine start switch to start AMB, and prop brake, as you see, you don't want to board crew. Prop brake is not showing ready, so again, remember, run the hydraulic auxiliary pump. It should eliminate ready, and now we can safely start our right engine by using the starter switch here. We are looking to 10%, and then add fuel, or move the condition lever to feather position, and it should start the right engine with prop brake. There we go. So now we should have AC power using our right engine, and the prop brake ready light, it extinguished again, but the prop brake seems to hold itself. We can move the starter switch back to off position, and that should give us the AC power we need. I'm just checking to see why the generator is not online. Oh, that's maybe because we have the ground power. Let's turn it off, and the fault light should extinguish, and now the aircraft's engine is providing power. We can go ahead and disconnect the ground power and clear the master caution, and the packs should be kicking in and providing some cool air to the cabin. Looks like we don't have bleed air. Oh, the bleed air system is working. Yes, we do, and we can check it through the, if I find the right button, we can check it through the systems page. There we go. The packs are running, and we should see the cabin cooling down very shortly. Let's go back to the ND. Alright, so that is pretty much the initial setup before starting to rotate the propeller blade. But for that to happen, we need to finish boarding the passengers and get ready to leave the ramp. So I'm gonna board the passengers, bring you guys back when we are ready to depart or leave the gate to taxi to our runway. Alright, last pieces of luggage is being loaded, and let's finish our setup. What I didn't talk about is the performance page. Our transition altitude is 6000. Our V-speeds are here, and we did the performance initialization. Cruise altitude is not that. Cruising altitude is this. And that happened because we entered the flight plan using the EFP, and I think it wiped out what we have selected before. So let's enter this one more time. And I want to check one thing here too under our flight plan init route, the flight ID. Our flight ID is Logan Air 751. Alright, so that's that, and we are pretty much ready. We have done this. Oh, the speeds. Our V2 is 111, and if you want to use the speeds auto selector, you have to select this, and it's gonna default to our I think this is one of the speeds that I cannot remember what it stands for, but if we go to the performance page, I'll show you where it's coming from. It is our VMLBO normal conditions, so that's where it's coming from. And we can now confirm the takeoff data and finish up the checklist so that we are ready to do the propeller rotation. CDLS, cockpit door locking system. This is not simulated, but we will put it to deny anyway. Now boarding is completed, which is great. More time. Let's close the cargo door, main door, bring the tail prop in, and remove the wheel chocks. FMS takeoff data is confirmed. Trim, we haven't set that up, but it was 1.2, so I'm going to use my trim wheel to set it up 1.2. That's set, and let's verify it's the correct trim. 1.2 up, yes. The other trims are centered, tail prop is on board, doors are closed, seatbelt signs are on, and the beacon is now turned on, and procedure is complete. So now I'm gonna show one more thing. If I disengage this and turn it off, go outside, nothing's gonna happen. Why? Same reason. Because we don't have the hydraulic pressure in the system. So if I go down, activate the hydraulic auxiliary pump once more, when the ready light illuminates, turning it off should rotate our propeller. So that's the other thing you need to be looking at if your propeller is not rotating or your brake is not, propeller brake is not disengaging. We'll move the condition lever to auto position, and my throttles are moving. Okay, so that's our right engine. Now we can continue with our left engine and put the starter to start AMB. Hit the start 1 button, and we'll monitor the NH, waiting for 10%, adding fuel, and we are waiting for 45%. Moving the condition lever to auto, and the starter is disengaged, so we can turn it to off. So that should start both of our engines. One thing we didn't do is we didn't request pushback, and I'm assuming we can turn around from here and cover that mistake I made without any big issues. Alright, so that's done. And we have the before taxi checklist. One thing I'm gonna do is now the TRU comes on, hydraulic systems are working, We are getting ready to leave, so P2 heat can come on. And we'll put the taxi lights on and go do our checklist. We'll keep this at the flight plan page and the other FMC at the progress page. There we go. And let's go with the checklist. Oh, flight warning system, recall, nothing there. Cockpit comm and hatch, closed. Condition levers 1 and 2 at auto position. Anti-icing is not required. TRU is on. Anti-skid test is performed. Flaps, we'll go flaps 15. And nose wheel steering is on by default, but that switch is right here under this guard. That's the nose wheel steering switch, and it's on by default. We haven't done the oxygen tests or anything like that. You can do that if you want to. We were not worried about any of this, so we will leave it alone, I guess. And clear this muster caution. That procedure is now complete. Now we can safely start our taxi. Before taxi, we'll go to the transponder and turn our transponder on. Weather radar to standby, and we'll go back to the nav page and keep it like this. It will auto tune like in an Airbus. We will disconnect or disengage the parking brake. Let's see, and if I give a little bit of power, she should start moving. There we go. We'll do full left, nose wheel steering deflection or nose wheel steering, and this should keep us turning. And I hope I'm not gonna hit that generator or ground power unit and the tug. We are turning just a little bit slower but safely. I hope I don't hit anything. Looks like it is less likely, and I'm just worried about the wings hitting that. So hope not. And we can start the elapse timer. That's over here on the co-pilot side, and the way to see it is if we go to the I'll show it here in a second. I don't want to miss my taxi routing. Let's check the brakes. Brakes are working, and I think it was here. If I go to, where was the timer? It's one of these screens. Oh, it's on the FMC under the progress page. We will follow this route for now and slow it down a little bit. Under the progress page we should see the timers, but let me focus on taxiing without hitting anything. That's our exit. The runway 27 should be on our right, and I wish there was a co-pilot helping me with this stuff right this moment, but so be it. We'll set the autopilot to nav mode on heading, and then we will select indicated airspeed and VNAV. So now everything is selected for our departure. We are taxiing towards runway 27. Taxi and landing takeoff lights. Oh, that's before taxi. Oh, that's the taxi checklist. Brakes are checked, FMA is checked, and takeoff config test is right here, and it passed, so we're good. I'm deviating from my taxi routing, so let's get back on the taxi line, and we'll keep the before takeoff checklist here. Sorry about that poor taxiing, guys. It's hard to look somewhere else and stay on the taxi way. It's better. I think we have some wing views here, but I will keep looking to the taxiway to stay on it. And I'll find where the timer is here in a second. I know it's in the FMC. Is it? There was... Well, there was a timer menu option. I'm trying to remember which menu was it, but I will find it when we stop at the runway threshold or hold short to do our before takeoff checklist. We can perfectly do an intersection takeoff if we want to. This aircraft is very capable of doing that, being a lightweight aircraft with less takeoff weight, but I will go towards the end and we will use this full runway. And I want to go back to the ND here. And maybe increase the range a bit. This is becoming a wild taxi here. And I think you have a timer here too. Alright, we are almost there. We will stop there momentarily at the hold short and do our takeoff checklist. I'm not going to do any run-up today. I think I have done it in my previous ATR video, where we check the prop governor and other things. I will skip that and assume that the crew before us did those tests. Let's stop here, set the parking brake, let's go find that timer. Alright. It's in one of these pages. There it is. It's under the data, timers, and our elapsed timer is running right now. You can also set a countdown timer if you want to. That wouldn't be necessary. Let's first set the aircraft for takeoff. We will put the landing lights on, assuming we have takeoff clearance. Strobes on, and those are the passenger signs. Okay. What else? Weather radar to BX, and we will tilt it 5 degrees. We should see it here. Weather and traffic, that's shown. Flaps, all good. Gust lock is now moved and it's pulled. And we are ready to enter the runway. Let's just do the before takeoff checklist. Takeoff briefing is performed, gust lock is off, flight controls are checked. Transponder TCAS is on, and we can check it through here. I think it's in the surveillance menu down below. TCAS is on, showing auto, transponder is on. Boost function is not required, airflow is normal, cabin crew is advised, engine bleeds are on, external lights are on, lateral flight director bar is there, and rudder cam centered, procedure completed. Parking brake disengaged, and let's enter the runway. Now, your throttle calibration that you do through the tablet can sometimes delete itself for some reason. So if you happen to have that problem, go into the tablet and click calibrate throttles and just save it as is without making any changes, and you should be good to go. We will stop here, hold the brakes, move the throttles to notch position, which you will see on the FMA. I just passed it. Notch, notch, release the brakes, and off we go. Alright, maintain the center line, airspeed is alive. I'm applying some right rudder to keep her on the center line. We are passing 80 knots, checked. Applying some forward pressure, coming up to our V1. And rotate. Off we go slowly. Alright. Positive rate of climb. Gear is coming up. And we will follow the flight director. Turn the aircraft for a steady acceleration to retract the flaps. You'll see that F on our speed tape, that's where we are going to bring the flaps in, and we should be turning now towards our routing, and flaps are coming in. Alright, that's better. Let's keep turning, and now we can put the power management to climb. We are above 1500 HGL, and I'm manually flying at this point just a little bit to get on the route. We need to turn just a little bit more and catch on to our flight plan path. And at this point you can engage the autopilot if you want to. So let's do that, and we'll talk about the other stuff and do our after takeoff checklist. Landing gear is up, flaps are 0, power management is at climb, engine bleed is on, taxi and takeoff lights will remain on until we pass 10,000, and we are not going to change the altimeters until we get to 6,000. We can synchronize our heading bug, and I hate when this happens. How do I... Okay, range, that's better. And I think this one, yeah, this one is better. Okay, that's the 6,000, and you see the restrictions here, 3,000 or above, 5,000 or above, and we have a 6,000 hard restriction. We will follow those and set our altitude to our cruising altitude and climb the rest using that. Alright, we will keep this here so that it's a reminder to myself for the altimeters, but so far we are doing fine. Let's take a look outside. There is the East Midlands Airport in the distance, and you see the fall colors around UK. Isn't that looking beautiful, guys? Look at that. Wow. I always enjoy looking outside and seeing this beautiful scenery. That makes me believe that it's close to real life, and it looks so real. Okay, let's focus on flying. We are coming up to 6,000, which means we need to control our throttles and come back a little bit so that we don't overspeed the aircraft. Not quite there yet, but we will eventually when we finish climbing. We have 500 feet left. And there we go. We see the aircraft capturing the altitude. LNAV is engaged, and we will be... that star will disappear, and we will remain at 6,000 until we clear that restriction. Now we are speeding up. I'm gonna cut the throttles so that we don't speed the aircraft too much, and maintain around 190 knots ish so that we don't pitch like crazy when we are ready to climb again. So that looks good to me. It seems like a good power setting for now. And unlike the CRJ, it's really easy to set the power in this aircraft. Alright, I'm not sure what's happening, but my headphones are giving me some beeps. I'm not sure if it's running out of battery or something. But we will go like this. That's the 6000. After that we can climb again. While we are at 6000 we can... Well, let's not do that. Let's wait until we get there, because I think if I change the altitude, this aircraft will start climbing again. Can increase the range just a bit. And maybe inform the cabin. Do we have a way to... Oh, that's an emergency call. We don't want to do that. Anything I missed here on the overhead? I don't think so. We can turn off the taxi lights because the landing gear or the gear is retracted. Yeah, everything is looking fine. We are good. Alright, that's the 6000, guys. Let's start climbing. I'm going to set the altitude to 20,000. And then indicated airspeed VNAV, and off we go. Now we can go to standard barometric pressure. We passed 6000 here and here, and that's pretty much it. We will reach 10,000, turn off the landing lights, and then we will reach cruise. And I'll bring you guys back when we are at cruise to discuss the other stuff and get the aircraft ready for our arrival and approach. Until then, enjoy, and I will keep recording and maybe speed up this part of the video. Welcome back. We are roughly 10 miles away from our top of descent, and things have changed a little bit because I'm recording this part on a different day, so our approach has changed. We'll talk about that, but let's jump into the cockpit and take a look at things. Alright, as I said, our approach changed. We are approaching to runway 25. And we are going to do an ILS. We are 10 miles away from our top of descent. And if I bring the charts, you'll see that our approach is, maybe make it a bit wider. Approach is to runway 25. We will fly over the Bells VOR and do a teardrop and land to runway 25. We'll just do a couple things. 109.9 and 247 is our approach course and frequency. Let's start with the frequency. 109.90. Enter twice to make it active, and we'll do it on the nav2 as well. 109.9. Enter. So that's the ILS. While we are nearing our top of descent, let's set our altitude to our final approach or glide slope altitude of 2,500. We have a 4,000 restriction, but the VNAV should take care of that. And we will arm the VNAV. VNAV path is armed now. And we started descending a little bit early, which is fine. I guess that happens when there is no arming. When you press, the aircraft will start descending, and then it will eventually catch up to the VNAV path. I'm gonna come back on the throttles just a little bit and turn on our passenger signs because we are starting our descent. And we'll go to the performance page. Let's move this out of the way. Go to the next page, and we have to fill out some information here. Transition altitude is by ATC, but I'm gonna plug in 10,000 there. And the QNH at our destination is currently 1010. That is in the box, and our approach speed is 107. Okay, we will keep flight plan here and performance over here for ease of access. And as you see, we are on path, and the aircraft is descending and accelerating, so we can come back on the throttles even more. And we'll complete our descent checklist. FWS recall, that's over here. Nothing. Landing elevation is checked. We'll see how this performs. FMS nav performance is set. Decision height, we haven't set that, so let's take a look. The decision height for our decision altitude is 468. 468 is MDA, and let's go to the side a little bit so that I can see the knob, and then we will set that to 470 rounded up. That is now set. Arrival briefing is performed and procedure is complete. The next thing is the approach, but we are not quite there yet. Let's bring the range down to 20 miles. And let's watch our speed. We don't want to accelerate too much. Alright, we are still picking up some speed, so I'm gonna come back almost all the way to the idle. That should give us a good speed to descend down and enough time to control our speed. Let's sync the heading bar. One thing we haven't done is going to the heading mode, and we will set the final approach course by going into the VILS, and that was 247. So we'll set that now so that we don't forget about it. That is now set. I'm gonna double check. Yep, 247. We'll go back to FMS and nav, and we'll do the same thing over on the Copilot side. Course to 247. Done. Okay. Let's see what our speed is doing. We are doing fine, coming up to 10,000. We are a little bit below the path, so we should slow down just a tiny bit more. That, I believe, will do it. You see the teardrop drawn on our ND, not quite accurately, but it is there. As I said, we will first come down to 4,000. We should see that here on our PFD as a restriction. No, we are not seeing it. That's fine. From 4,000 we will eventually go down to 2,500 while we are doing the circle to land, and eventually start our approach. Okay, so coming down to almost 10,000. We will set the QNH when we pass below 10,000 for the local barometric pressure, and the rest will be descending down and configuring the aircraft. We will keep the approach checklist here. There is not much in there which we can complete when we pass below 10,000 and set the QNH, and from there it's just chilling until we get to the final. Okay, so we can take a look outside, and this looks beautiful. This looks beautiful. Alright, very nice, very nice. In the meantime, as you see, I have the bearings here for the ILS 1 and 2. That gives me the DME reading. We are very close, 42 miles to our destination, and we can keep the performance here. We will probably activate the approach speed when we make the turn for our circle to land, and start slowing the aircraft down. And I do not remember if we passed below 10,000. Let's turn on the landing lights. I can't remember if it was auto switching the frequencies or the nav sources, but I don't think it does. So we will probably have to manually switch to the VILS on our main control panel, MCP, or flight control panel, FCP, whichever you want to call it. And we'll keep syncing our heading log in case we need it. Alright, 7 miles away from the Belfast VOR, and we should make the turn. I think we can go one more level down on the range to 10 miles to see a little bit better. And as you see, there's a 4,000 or above restriction, but I'm not sure if this is displayed on our flight plan. Oh, it is displayed here. Okay. Yeah, let's see. The VNAV should take care of it. I have no doubt that it will. Everything is looking nice. We are on path. We are deviating a little bit, but not a whole much, so the aircraft should be able to manage it. And we can do this. Seatbelt signs are on, landing lights are on, altimeters. Let's set our altimeters to 1010 from standard. And it is showing different in Microsoft Flight Simulator, so not sure. We will stick to what we have seen and see if that checks out. Passing below 7,000, we are about to make the turn. And when we finish the turn, I think it is going to be time for us to start. Why are we turning to the left? That's odd. That's a little bit interesting. That left bank and then right turn. Let's go to the performance. Approach speed is now active. As you see, it's trying to go down to 170 knots, so we can help the aircraft by coming back on the throttles even more. And when we pass below this double line, we can go flaps 15. And this turn is like becoming very wide because of that left bank the aircraft did. But let's see if we are going to be able to go slow down. Altimeters are set, cabin altitude. We can check that from our systems page very quickly. There we go. Cabin altitude is dropping, so that's good. And that completes the checklist. We will do the before landing checklist here in a little bit. There are some weird stuff I'm seeing on our ND. I'm not sure what that is, but we are below 180 knots, so we'll go flaps 15. And that should give us even more and create some drag to slow us down, and we are below the glide slope. It will help the aircraft with throttle just a little bit, because we don't want to go below 140, but we need to slow down, or we need to keep slowing down towards 140 knots, and we are passing 4,000. Okay, this is going to be a little bit interesting because of what I see here. That is very interesting. We get the DME, we should be flying away from the ILS, and DME should be increasing. Let's sync our heading bar one more time, and let's see what happens. Right, we are coming down to 140 knots. Remember, our approach speed is 107, and we are way below the glide slope of the VNAV path, but it should sort itself out when we get down to 2,500, and the speed should also come back when we pitch the nose up for leveling off. So far, it's going okay. I'm a little concerned about this weird line here. I hope the aircraft doesn't try to follow it like that, because it's impossible for it to follow that. But by the time we get here, we will probably switch our nav source and activate the approach mode. Do we have another range? Let's just keep it at 10 miles from now. And there is some turbulence as far as I can tell. Oh, we haven't set the wind information. What was the winds at our destination? 260 at 9 knots. So that's the other thing. 260, 09 knots with 0 gusts. That is our landing winds. That is all done. We are back on our flight plan path, which is fine. Sync the heading bar, because we need to switch momentarily to heading mode very shortly. Frequencies are down. Let's open the before landing checklist. Let's see what happens from here. Okay, yeah, slowing way down. We need to stay around 140 for now. Oh my god, this is very bumpy ride around here. Wasn't expecting this. That's interesting. Alright. Go to heading mode and arm the approach. Approach inhibit. Interesting. Oh, because of this. Let's switch this and approach mode. That's why I forgot to switch the nav source. And now our approach is armed, and we'll keep an eye on our heading and turn the aircraft slowly towards the localizer. Okay, that should do it. And we shouldn't worry about this part. Keep the heading around here, and then the aircraft should pick up the localizer when we get a little bit closer. But the speed and the gusts are a little interesting. I'm not sure if this is accurate, but live weather has been crazy, for me at least, and I hope it will get fixed at some point. Look at this. It's showing 7-9 knots winds and the aircraft is moving around like crazy. Alright, just a little bit more and we are gonna start turning again towards our localizer. Speed is looking good. Let's turn. This is going to be close to our final, and it captured the localizer, so that's good. We'll set the heading to 247. Our missed approach altitude is 3,000 feet, so we can set that. And we can do this. Alright, let's slow it down. One more notch of flaps, which will be the last notch. We are at 9 miles. Landing gear can come down. Cabin crew is advised. Landing gear is down. We should see 3 greens here in a little bit. Nice. We can turn on our taxi light 2. That's good. And let's keep going. Flaps checked. Power management to take off. We are the high speed, angle of attack needed, external lights are on, and that is now done. We are almost at our final fix. Looks like the order. Oh, the speed. Alright, let's see if we can get the AP back on. I think it is back on, and we are on glide slope descending. That was a slight hiccup for the speed. Let's bring the speed down though. We need to stay around 107 knots of approach speed. And I will take control here shortly. Alright, we should be good now. Speed is coming down. It is looking good. Airport is inside, so we should be fine at this point. Down to 1800 feet. Not sure if the barometric pressure is correct. Well, it was not, so that's a shame, but we will follow what the sim thinks the pressure is. And we are at 120 knots. It's looking good. Alright, I am going to disconnect autopilot. Now it's my plane, and we will continue from here like this. Just watching the glide slope indicator and the puppies. They are drifting to the left a little bit, so maintaining the center line and getting back on correct heading. And still seeing 2 red, 2 white. Glide slope is looking okay. Indicator is also showing normal. And speed is looking good too. Alright, I think we are going in nicely. We are losing the glide slope a little bit. We are high, so let's go descent a little bit faster. Get back on the glide slope. Now we are back on profile. Off to the left a little bit, so this should get us where we need to be. We lost a little red light, so we are back on profile. And this part is always a little bit challenging to control the aircraft. But now I think we are good. Nice.
Minimum. 200 minimum.
Continue.
100.
Right, checked. Close the throttles.
50, 40, 30, 20.
Flare.
10.
Hold it there. Alright, we are down. Reverse thrust is engaged. And reversers are off. Very nice. Okay, we are down. Welcome to Belfast, guys. That was a very nice landing. I enjoyed it. We will vacate the runway from this exit right in front of us. We will let the aircraft roll like this and then apply the brakes. And take this turn to get to our parking spot. Alright, let's just... Is this another runway at Belfast? Looks like it, so we probably have to do a little bit better than this and take that exit right in front of us before anyone decides to land or enter the runway. Right, this should do it. Let's take this exit. And let's stop here and take a look at all the stuff that we need to do after landing. I don't like to do it while taxiing. If I had a co-pilot, maybe I would, but not right now. Alright. So, weather radar comes back to standby. Landing lights can come off. Strobe can come off. Taxi lights will remain on. Transponder can go back to standby. And let's see. Radar is standby. Flight controls. We'll just put the gust load in. Locked, we'll bring the flaps up. Trims are going to get reset. Is reset now. Strobe and landing lights are off. Anti-ice probe heat now can come off. Checked. TRU can come off. Checked. And we will wait a little bit. And put the condition lever 1 to feather and then fuel SO or fuel shuttle. Okay, let's get moving and find ourselves a parking spot. We should be very close to the terminal. I see some planes over there, so we'll find an empty spot and park the aircraft when we get there. Can put this back to FMS. And we probably can stop the timer. And let's stay on the taxiway. It has been 2 minutes, so condition level 1 to feather. And I think this is a single engine taxi to our parking spot, so I think that's what it is saying. I'm not sure if this is the normal procedure, but I will follow what the checklist says. And fuel shut off. We should have the left engine stop. Yeah, it is stopping. And we will continue with our right engine, which is fine. We'll need just a little bit more thrust. It should be okay. And I see some parking spots right here, so we might as well take advantage of that. Sorry, that's the non-calibrated head tracking, because I want to look to my left and see if there is a parking spot. I think I'm gonna go to the other one. Continue like this. Yep, this is like a bigger guys, heavy aircraft type of place. So we'll probably find a better place right a little bit forward between those EasyJets. Not much left here. Just looking for a parking spot. A ramp would be ideal for this aircraft if we can find one. If not, we will see what our options are. I think I'm gonna take this left and try to locate a parking spot somewhere between this aircraft. You know what? I think I'm gonna just cut through here and maybe just park right here, following this line. Yes, that's what I'm gonna do. Stand 18. Taxi light, we can turn it off. Taxi light is off. Let's center the aircraft with the parking position. Down so that we can roll in slowly and hopefully stop. Looks like the visual guidance system is not working, so I'm gonna assume that this is the spot and hit the brakes and go outside and see. Oh, I didn't do too bad. I didn't do too bad. So parking brake is set. Let's see here. We have parking. First off, I guess we need to engage the parking brake. Taxi light, takeoff lights are on. Condition level E2 to feather. And now it is time for us to re-engage the prop brake by pressurizing the system. And turning the prop brake on. This should give us power, but stop the propeller. Looks like we completely stopped the engine. No, we didn't. Yeah, the engine is still running. My bad. Okay. So we still have power. Vehicle light can come off now. Transponder is on standby. Tail prop, we can put it in position. Open the main door, cargo door, and put the chocks in. Request ground power. Seat belts now can come off. And we are not going to do a new leg. We will be leaving the aircraft, so we will just keep it there. Switch to external power, and that will give us an opportunity to shut down our right engine as well, which I am doing right now. And the engine is now spilling down. We can request deboarding
requested.
There is the cargo. Why the door is closing? Did I told you to close the door? Open the door. We haven't deboarded
Passengers
the aircraft
deboarding
yet.
starting.
There's the ramp agent. And that's probably going to be it for this video, guys. Again, welcome to Belfast. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, consider giving it a like. And if you stumbled upon this video and not a subscriber, consider hitting that subscribe button to get notified for future videos. Videos will be a bit slow due to my busy work and other things for now, but they will come. I'm not stopping the videos. They will come, but they will come a little bit slower than my normal pace. Anyways, thanks for being here with me today, and I'll see you in the next video.